Alright, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Okay. Trying to get this thing sorted out. Anyway, welcome back to the channel. It's been a few days. I just want to start today's video by showing you guys that I have been working on the Mega Bloks Charizard build. It's almost there. About 2/3 of the way done. I know I haven't been recording this, but I figured I'd throw you guys an update. And I want to say I want to appreciate the new subscribers I've had. It's only been a couple. We're up to 17 now, so I appreciate you guys. I don't know what I did in not my last video, but the video before that garnered so many views and so many comments. Maybe it's just because it was just like a super hot take, and so many people just didn't agree with me on that. But I appreciate the new subs I got, and I appreciate the comments. And just everybody that engaged with that video. I really appreciate that. So I also want to kind of talk about, so as I've done more research into the rules of Magic the Gathering, and just thank God for content creators whose channels primarily revolve around the nuances of the rules for Magic the Gathering. Those guys are doing the Lord's work, because it becomes again, it's so nuanced. It's so there's just so much that can go on in a game within a couple of turns in regards to the stack and layers and things like that. And it's just something that I'll admit is beyond me, just far beyond my comprehension. But it's so fun to learn about, and it's so interesting because it's really something that could become. It's almost like it's part of the skill ceiling for the game. It's almost its own facet of being good at the game, is understanding all of those rules and knowing all the intricacies of your deck, and how every individual card can interact with your opponent based on something so simple as just a single word in the description of an ability can completely change how those cards interact with one another. And again, I'm just super impressed, with the depth of the rules for Magic the Gathering. Now, people probably watch this video and go, yeah, no, duh. And I get that. Again, I've said it before that Magic the Gathering isn't something that I'm really engaged in, so but as a casual player, and I haven't played Magic the Gathering in 15 years, so, and I only ever played casually, and I never played Commander really, and I've only ever done theme decks and things that were just fun, not necessarily powerful or anything like that, but just for fun. So yeah, my knowledge of the rules for Magic the Gathering is very surface level, but again, I've been watching a lot of content creators whose content primarily revolves around the rules and all that stuff. So and I can't remember the names of the content creators that I've watched off the top of my head, or I'd say, hey, shout out to these guys, but hey, you doing the Lord's work. Super appreciate. Another thing I want to talk about is something that's kind of off topic. Well, actually really off topic. And that is the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake that's coming out later this year. And I personally, I'm not a fan of Nintendo anymore. I think that some of their business practices have become incredibly predatory and incredibly scummy, and they're kind of underhanded. And I don't, I don't agree with their business practices. And uh, honestly, I don't know how they're going to handle not Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild sucked, by the way. In my opinion, Breath of the Wild was trash, and Tears of the Kingdom was worse. They are absolutely garbage as far as the Legend of Zelda franchise is concerned. Dude, I love Legend of Zelda. Like, I've got tattoos. You can't really see it, but like I've got tattoos all the way up my right arm onto my back. That's all Legend of Zelda themed. And mine and my wife's wedding was Legend of Zelda themed. I even had a set of chainmail, like a chainmail tunic, custom made for my costume and everything, and did all the leather and all the tooling and all that stuff. My point is, I love Legend of Zelda, and anybody that says that Breath of the Wild was a return to form for Legend of Zelda in terms of it being a lot like the first Legend of Zelda game. You never played the original Zelda game on the Nintendo system, on the NES, and it shows, because there was absolutely an order to how you had to do things. There were systems in place that made it so you couldn't just go to the last dungeon. And in Breath of the Wild, you can literally go straight from the tutorial with 3 hearts and go straight to Ganon's castle, fight Ganon, and beat the game. And that doesn't make any sense to me. And people said that was a return to form. A return to form for what? If you ask me, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was a really expensive tech demo that Nintendo knew that they couldn't sell unless they slapped an IP onto it. And the game suffered for that. If they had literally called that just like I don't even know, a Switch, Switch exploration or something like that, and you played as like a Mii or something. You know what I mean? Like, if it was just a game where you traversed a 3D world that was super expansive and ran through all the shrines and things like that, and it wasn't connected to Legend of Zelda, I can guarantee you it wouldn't have sold a single copy. But Breath of the Wild stands as a perfect example of how something can be popular and not be good. And a lot of people didn't like the dungeons. If you could even call them dungeons, the 4 ancient beasts, what a joke. They were so poorly planned out. They were just, and people didn't like the Wii U. People didn't like needing to use the tablet to engage with games on the Wii U. People hated it. And that's why the Wii U flopped, because you were forced to use the Wii U tablet in moment-to-moment gameplay. And the only game I ever played on the Wii U that it ever made sense for was Xenoblade Chronicles. And that game was really fantastic until it hit a ridiculous difficulty spike. And then it just became, for me, it was no fun anymore, and I stopped playing it. But the Wii U tablet was a really good application. It had a really good application in that game, and it didn't feel cumbersome, and it didn't feel forced. It just felt like an extra tool to use while playing through the game. It's the only game, like I said, that I played on the Wii U where I can say that. Everything else to my experience was not good with the Wii U. And with the Switch, they literally did the exact same thing with Breath of the Wild. It just became something that you had to use to get through the game with that stupid Sheikah slate that you had to use to get through the 4 dungeons, 120 shrines, and 900 Korok seeds. Trash. Just what an absolute pile of garbage. And then when people actually did complain about it, Nintendo doubled down with Tears of the Kingdom. I never even played the game. I refused. I refused to give Nintendo any more of my money because they and all of the policies that have come out regarding the Switch 2 and in regards to modding and things like that are just bad business practice. Okay, just bad business practices all around for the Switch 2. But with Ocarina of Time remake, and all of a sudden all these people are coming out of the woodwork now that they've supported the Switch 2 all along, and no, they haven't. And I will continue to not support Switch. I will continue to not support Nintendo. And I know that that's just my opinion. And again, these are one man's opinions. This is how I feel about it. And me not buying a Switch isn't going to sink Nintendo. I don't have any delusion about that. I know that I'm just a guy sitting in his little office talking into a camera. But I don't know, man. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for an Ocarina of Time remake. But now we got people saying, "Oh, it'd be great if they incorporated some of the mechanics from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom." What kind of mechanics could they possibly incorporate that wouldn't absolutely ruin the fundamental basis of Ocarina of Time? The only thing they could do to improve Ocarina of Time remake. Right now, they're doing a ground up remake. It's a complete restructure of the story and all these things. The only thing I could really think they could do to improve it would be to add all the cut content that they had to cut out of Ocarina of Time on the N64, and just add the Light Temple and things like that. But don't change anything else. Got articles being written about how you should be able to switch into first person and all that stuff, and no, it's a third person hack and slash adventure game. And I hope that I know that they're going to change some of the story beats. But I hope that they keep that core identity of the story and how it's presented, because that's what people wanted. That's what people fell in love with Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. That's why it's such a critically acclaimed game. That's why it's the most popular game ever. I mean, it's got 10s and 99s out of 100s and 9.9s, and I mean, obviously it's not the most popular game. I'm sure that there's other games up there, and I'm sure somebody will say something in the comments about how, well, it's not the best game, and there's going to be people that disagree with me about the Breath of the Wild thing and Tears of the Kingdom. And if you like those games, great, but just know that they are not Legend of Zelda games. They might be called Legend of Zelda, but they're not Legend of Zelda games. Anyway, that's all I have for the night. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a good night.